Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to class on history. We have been dealing with the composite culture, and we have completed the two different sources of this particular composite culture. Today we are going to learn about the third source, that is Ajmer Sharif. As I said in the previous class, it is the holy shrine of the Sufi saint called Khawaja Moinuddin Chishti, and it was located at Ajmer in Rajasthan. And Khawaja Moinuddin Chishti came to India with Mahmud of Ghazni and made Ajmer as his headquarters. Okay, so this is a place where I stopped in the previous class. And this Dargah of Khawaja Moinuddin Chishti, which means the tomb of this particular person, is the most revered, most respected site in India, where thousands of people come to pay their reverence. Dargah means the tomb of this particular saint is the most revered site where thousands of people come to pay their homage and respect. And they organize a carnival called Urs for 6 days. A carnival called a festival, a carnival called Urs for 6 days to honor this particular saint. And what are the main attractions of this particular tomb? The main attraction of this particular tomb is the mausoleum, which means the tomb of the saint. Besides this particular tomb of the saint, there are attractive buildings, tombs, and the courtyards. So the most attractive thing is the mausoleum, which means the tomb of this particular saint. That is the most attractive element. Okay. Now, the main gate called Nizam Gate, and after the main gate, the Nizam Gate, that is followed by Shahjahani Gate, that is followed by Buland Darwaza, leading to the Darg. Darg means the tomb where we have this particular, leading to the courtyard that leads to the Dargah means the tomb of this particular saint. So first we have the Nizam Gate that will lead to the Shahjahani Gate. Nizam Gate that leads to, followed by Shahjahani Gate that leads to Buland Darwaza, and that leads to this Dargah. That means the particular tomb of this particular saint. So we have the Nizam Gate followed by Shahjahani Gate followed by Buland Darwaza that leads to this Dargah, means it is the tomb of this particular saint. And there are two huge big decks. There are two huge decks, which means it's a place for cooking the food. Okay, place for cooking the food, and there is a solid means very strong. Solid masonry, okay, that has got a palatable mixture of rice, sugar, ghee, dried fruits, cooked for the distribution of the people. Okay, so there are two huge decks, which means the place for cooking the food. And what do they provide there? The mixture of we have got a solid masonry that contains the rice, sugar, ghee, dried fruits. That's a place where the cooking is done and it is distributed to the people who come there. And these two decks, one is separated by, what this guy said, there are two different decks. Okay, one was presented by Akbar, second one was presented by Jahangir. Okay. Now, this particular tomb, coming to the tomb of this particular saint, it is made up of white marble, and it is inlaid with the pieces of precious stones. It's made up of white marble and inlaid, mixed with the pieces of precious stones, and then it is bestrewed with sandalwood paste perfume. So it is made up of pure white marble mixed with the precious stones, and it is bestrewed, mixed with the sandalwood paste perfume. And over the tomb, above the tomb, there is a silver canopy inlaid with the pieces of mother of pearl presented by Jahangir. So over the tomb we will see a silver canopy mixed with the pieces of mother of pearl which was presented by Jehangir. And there is a silver railing that leads to an arch that leads to the south, where people, the devotees, are led to the place where they can offer flowers and prayers. So these are the things that you need to remember about this particular Ajmer Sharif. It is a tomb of this particular Sufi saint. So it is a most revered site where people come for paying their homage. They organize a carnival. Main attraction is the tomb of this particular saint. I said there are different gates. Nizam gate, that is followed by the Shahjahani gate, that is followed by Bullet Darwaza, that is leading to the Dargah, means the tomb of this particular saint. There are two different decks, place for cooking the food with a solid masonry, where they have got this rice, sugar, ghee, dried foods kept for the distribution to the public. And one was presented by Akbar, second one was presented by Jehangir. Coming to this particular tomb is made up of white marble mixed with the pieces of precious stones, and also mixed with the sandalwood paste perfume. And over the tomb you will see a silver canopy mixed with the pieces of mother of pearl presented by Jehangir. And there is a silver railing that leads to an arch towards the south, and the devotees are led into this particular space to offer prayer and the flowers. I hope you are clear with the first one. Now come to the last part of it, the last source that we have, that is the St. Francis Church. St. Francis Church. St. Francis Church. It was built 1503. 1503 it was built, and it is the oldest European church. And the body of Vasco da Gama, who came to India, who landed in India, was buried in this particular church. And after 14 years of his death, his remains were taken to Lisbon in Portugal. But the gravestone of Vasco da Gama still remains in this particular church. So it was built in 1503. It is the oldest European church. The body of Vasco da Gama was buried in this particular church, but after 14 years of his death, his remains were taken to Lisbon in Portugal. But the gravestone of Vasco da Gama still remains in this particular church. Now come to this particular person called Vasco da Gama, landed in India 1498 at Kapad near Kozhikode in south. And after Vasco da Gama, he was followed by two different people, Pedro Alvarez Cabral and Alfonso de Albacete. Okay, and these two people built a fort at Kochi. These two people, they built a fort at Kochi, and inside this particular fort, or within this particular fort, they built a church with a wooden structure. Within this particular fort, they built a church with a wooden structure. And 1506, what happened was that Francisco de Almeida reconstructed the wooden buildings with stone and masonry. Okay, so 1506, Francisco de Almeida began to reconstruct the wooden building with stone and masonry. That happened in 1506. And this particular rebuilding this particular wooden church was given to the Franciscan friars. Franciscan friars means a Franciscan priest. Okay, and 1795 British captured Kochi from Dutch. 1795, British came and captured this particular place from the Dutch. In 1804, Dutch handed over this particular church to the Anglican division, Anglican sect. The Dutch people, before they left the place, they handed over this particular church to the Anglican sect. And Anglicans changed the name, that is to St. Francis Church. Okay. Come to the next person, the person that you are going to learn, that is St. Francis of Assisi. He was an Italian Roman Catholic priest and preacher, born in 1182. 1182, we have the birth of St. Francis of Assisi. He lived a life typical of a wealthy young man. He was born to a rich parents, so he had a very wealthy, luxurious life. But once he had a vision that changed his complete life, with this particular vision that he had, he gave up his ambition for a military glory. Which means, with this particular vision that he had, he gave up his luxurious life and he took up the preaching ministry. And they had a small church near Assisi that became their base from where they could travel to different places. And in 1226, October 3rd, he died. And in 1228, July 16, he was pronounced as a saint by Pope Gregory IX. In 1228, he became a saint, and it was announced by Pope Gregory IX. And he laid foundation stone for the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. And there were various churches built and dedicated to St. Francis of Assisi. So these are the two more sources that we need to remember with regard to this particular concept of a composite culture. Okay, you are clear? We began with the first one, that is the Bijak, the seed book. Second one was Guru Granth Sahib. Third one was Ajmer Sharif. And fourth we have got St. Francis Church. And next topic that you are going to learn, what are the factors responsible for the growth of a composite culture? What are the factors? We learned about the sources. Now what we are going to learn is about what are the factors that help the growth of a composite culture. The factors that help the growth of a composite culture. The first one is the immense wealth and the power of a Mughal emperor. The wealth and the power of a Mughal emperor that continued, because of their wealth, because of their power, they continued their fine arts and literature. And because of their wealth, they built palaces, fort and monuments. The first reason, the immense wealth and unlimited power of the Mughal emperor. Second, the settled conditions and the settled conditions and the period of peace, a long period of peace that existed in the place. So because of the settled conditions and long period of peace, people had extensive works of art. And the Mughal emperors, they had a sense of beauty and art. Beauty and art. The Mughal emperors, they had a sense of beauty and art. And the glorious, rich cultural heritage of the Mughals with the Indian culture. So the mixing of the Mughal culture and Indian culture led to the brilliant output of various arts. The mixing of Mughal culture that came to India and the culture that existed in India, Indian culture, the combination of these two led to the brilliant works of art. The combination of Mughal culture and Indian culture gave birth to brilliant works of art. So these are the four factors responsible for the growth of composite culture. The first one, the immense wealth and unlimited power of the Mughal emperor that helped them to continue with their fine art. Second, the settled conditions and the long period of peace that existed in the country. Next one, the Mughal rulers, the Mughal kings had their sense of beauty and art, and the mixed combination of Mughal culture and Indian culture gave birth to brilliant arts. Okay. The next topic that you are going to learn is about the impact of a composite culture that you will take in the coming class. So kindly go through the video once again and try to understand the explanation. So complete the notes. Take care, student.